First off, President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, has assured the people of Plateau State that President Bola Tinubu is resolute on ending the years of bloodshed and violent crisis in the state. Akpabio spoke at the weekend in Jos, where he represented Tinubu at a grand rally organized by All Progressives Congress, APC, at the Jos Polo Field. The All Progressives Congress in Plateau State has received a boost as several prominent politicians, including former Senator Istifunas Gyang, defected from opposition parties to join the ruling party. He said Tinubu had placed the search for lasting peace on the plateau at the center of his national security strategy, adding that the state's security situation is now a top priority at the highest level of government. Arise correspondent Douglas Francis files this report.
The Jos Polo Field hosts thousands of supporters who are defecting to the governing All Progressive Congress, citing the pursuit of national interest as the reason for their decision. President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, says the move is a testament to the party's vision for the country.
Good people of Plateau State, that I promised you the last time I came was for burial, and I made a prediction that the next time I visit you will be for celebration. Yes, sir. My eyes have seen, my ears have heard. Yes, sir. I am a witness to the fact that from 2027, the entire Plateau State shall become APC.
Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Benjamin Kalu, says President Tinubu's policies have inspired many to join the Broom Party, while the APC National Chairman says the party is poised to recapture power in 2027.
We have left Abuja to come and identify with you because you have taken the right decision. The whole National Assembly with the members from Plateau State are standing together to receive all those who want to work with Mr. President.
Chairman, Progressive Governors Forum, represented by Nasarawa State Governor, says the party is overwhelmed with the history in Plateau.
We declare that President Tinubu in 2027, Plateau is a case for a taker. President Tinubu win Plateau State. For gubernatorial election, APC will win.
The defectors, including former Senator Istifunas Gyang and Labour Party gubernatorial candidate in 2023, Patrick Dakum, said the move marks a turning point for the party in the state.
Bola Tinubu, his hard work, because of his talent. Anybody who is not in APC today is actually losing the Noah's Ark.
Today is a turning point in the political history of Plateau State. This is a day that the entire Plateau has resolved the APC.
85% of the people in Labour Party have come to APC.
Party leaders say they expect more people to join APC with the hope that the party will return to power in the state in 2027.
From the APC, let's go to the PDP. The new elected national chairman of People's Democratic Party, Dr. Kabiru Turaki, has assured members of the party and Nigerians generally of a new era of internal democracy in the once dominant but currently distressed opposition party. Turaki said there would be no more impunity and suppression of will in the party. He made the assertions yesterday while delivering his acceptance speech after being declared the new national chairman of PDP at the 2025 elective national convention of the party in Ibadan. The convention was not monitored by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and it is the subject of litigation in courts of law. Meanwhile, fresh details emerged on why Plateau State Governor Caleb Mutfwang and his Adamawa State counterpart Amadu Fintiri did not support the expulsion of Nyesom Wike, Samuel Anyanwu, Ayo Fayoshe, and other party leaders at the Ibadan convention. The governor alluded to lack of consultation. Turaki said PDP was currently at crossroads, but pledged that the new executive was equal to the task. He said the new executives would start visiting some of the aggrieved party members to appeal to those with genuine grievances to return to the party in order to save Nigeria's democracy from imminent collapse. Okay, it's a morning of politics as we begin the week. Of course, the much anticipated now, in retrospect, PDP National Convention, which held in Ibadan over the weekend, despite all odds, and still odds during the convention itself. And then, of course, before that, the APC had a rally in Plateau State. Your take on these stories, we're fine.
Okay, so we've had multiple analysis as regards the PDP convention. Yes. In fact, one person said that the PDP convention is like dirty December starting early because INEC didn't ratify it. But also with the ratification of INEC, a lot of other people have argued that PDP met all the terms, that they gave ample notice. In fact, I saw Anthony speaking on another television station yesterday, a PDP member, where he was talking about the fact that they had given ample notice of the schedule and all of that, and they had made a proper notification. I've also seen the likes of Samamadi argue that the last judgment, pretty much was in their favor. That's the judgment of Justice Turaki in Ibadan, and that judgment favored them, and they've gone ahead and they have fixed the positions. In fact, while Anthony was making his point on another television station yesterday, he addressed the Sule Lamido issue, and when he released the timeline at which, the PDP had announced that they were going to have their convention, and he showed practically from that timeline that the timeline had already elapsed before Sule Lamido decided to go, say he wanted to get his ticket, and he was denied from being able to buy his ticket to participate in that primary. Yes, some decisions were taken. The likes of Chief Bode George, also read out, the suspension of Nyesom Wike, but how times change. Anyway, Chief Bode George has said ad nauseum that, that was what he had to do then. But I always remind him of the fact that when he was supporting the likes of Nyesom Wike against Atiku Abubakar then, he did not know that what you do will come around to haunt you. And the same Nyesom Wike had done the same for him, to today. George Turner sent me a message, I think on Sunday morning, saying that, and I think it was a statement they had released, that saying that the suspension of some of the members was laughable, because the argument of the fact that the process in Ibadan was not ratified by INEC, so how are they going to suspend them? And while they were doing the convention, some PDP members, like Faisha, was having his jolly 65th birthday, and Wike and the likes were there. So some states too did not send delegates there. I think Rivers State first has not sent delegate there. So it's up in the air. I caught Dr. about his beautiful show yesterday, This Day Live, where the party secretary, came to speak. I felt it was quite too optimistic because it's going to be a big legal tussle ahead. And when the legal fireworks starts, the court might not ratify, although there's a Supreme Court ruling that says that internal party matters should be settled internally. But there are many cases. And when we start to unearth the bodies that were buried, it's going to be a lot. So I'm going to wait with bated breath, and I'm going to use Dr. Abati's words yesterday. I think officially, from the states of coma, I think PDP has been taken to the mortuary. So the question is, I normally hear that there are miracles of people already taken to the mortuary,
rising from the
and
dead.
they rise from the dead
Even
from the
after 3
mortuary,
days.
even after 3 days. So maybe PDP can follow the biblical inclination of a resurrection. But the joke was on all of us and the PDP because we are not at Easter. Okay. If you get the joke, you understand.
I understand what
Real quickly, as regards the APC, yes, they can amass more members, but isn't it shocking that just that it's been inundated by insecurity, the only thing the Senate president was able to say is that I cry when I hear the point of insecurity. These are the people they can't come out to openly say there's Christian genocide. I dare them to say, they can't say because of politics. And these are the people that dance on the grave of people. Just Brakinladi, Mongo, Bokos and those areas are inundated with insecurity. But the APC has the nerve to go and campaign and get more members to their party when they can't solve the problem. The only thing the president has done is to send a mission to go and see Reverend Achema and a couple of other people. We are saying this government should name terrorist sympathizers if they are ready. They should show actions. And you see, no matter how the government try to spew propaganda, oh, both sides are being killed, there's no Christian genocide, the Pope has come out to say that there's persecution. So go argue with the Pope. You see, we say these things because it doesn't affect us. Yesterday I was playing tennis. Somebody walked up to me and showed me a scene. His sister's husband had been kidnapped in Kwara. They had paid the first 20 million naira. The kidnapper said they wanted more money. They are looking for another 30 million naira to at least see if they can give them 50 million naira, and the ransom is over 100 million. That's what people are facing. And so when we come here and we spew government talking points, without forgetting that people are being hurt, people are dying. Look at the case. I got very gory messages from the thief people yesterday in Taraba State. Being inundated with killing, their lands about to be taken. So it's so easy to sit down here and to campaign and to say the words, oh, I feel like crying. What has the Senate done to bring a stop to all of this? Lives matter.
Very good question. Dr. Abati.
Okay, on Friday, I said we should expect a lot of legal drama. And that the game will be about, one party or the other looking for the latest in terms of the ruling from the court. So Justice Lifu ruled in the morning that the convention could not go ahead. In Ibadan, around 2:30 p.m., Justice Akintola ruled that the convention could go ahead and INEC must be a party to it. So the PDP, relying on the latest ruling, of course, found a legal basis. The simple rule is that courts within the same hierarchical order, the latest to give a ruling, his position will prevail. And that is in line with, in terms of jurisdiction, with Section 84, sub 14 of the Electoral Act of 2022. However, the legal drama, in my view, has just started. There's going to be a lot of banditry within the PDP. There's going to be a lot of insurgency. There's going to be a lot of drama going ahead, because the contention will be that, look, certain persons, as in the Sule Lamido case, were excluded from the process, and that they were not allowed to buy forms for nomination. So, the other side is likely to go to court in that regard. And they will be quoting cases like the Labour Party case between Nena de Usman and another versus Labour Party and another. They will be quoting Ogumimiju GSC, as she then was, in Waziri versus PDP. And there are other cases like that where the Supreme Court had ruled that, look, you cannot influence political party decisions in terms of their own internal affairs. However, where the party does not follow its own constitution, where the fundamental human rights of persons have been violated, then the court can inquire into it. So you are likely to find a lot of litigation in that regard. And it was in that regard that I asked the spokesperson, the new spokesperson of the party yesterday. His name is Ine Ememobong. And the interview he granted at Rice News was his first interview immediately after being appointed the new spokesperson or elected the new spokesperson of the People's Democratic Party. And he was saying that, well, the issue is that the new chairman, Kabiru Turaki SAN, is talking about reconciliation. He's talking about an end to impunity, and that the party is going to look for ways to still reconcile. There was a committee before, led by Ambassador Amadu, which did not work. There were persons at that convention up to the last minute who were still saying, look, there should be a caretaker committee, the convention should not go ahead. So that's going to be a lot of, opportunities for battle. Now, that convention was boycotted by 3 states. Sokoto delegates were not there. Rivers delegates were not there. The delegates from Jigawa were not there. So which proves the point that the party is facing a very serious crisis. And that's why we say, well, perhaps the party has moved from the ICU to the mortuary in terms of political capacity. So how would the Kabiru Turaki SAN-led leadership, how will it now unify the party? Considering the fact also that 11 persons have been expelled, Wike has been expelled, Fayoshe has been expelled, people are asking the question, why now? This is a thing they could have done long before now. And these persons that have been expelled, including Samuel Amwanyu, Anyanwu, Dan Obi, Ibrahim Ama, Baturi, who is accused of causing problems in the Northwest. These are not persons who are going to go away without a fight. Nyesom Wike, for example, is going to say, at a time when the party needed help, he was the one who stood up. You may say it's not his money he was using to finance the party, but he provided resources to keep the party going. Other people may have contributed, but he contributed more in terms of financial resources. Who is now going to fund this fight? Who is going to fund this struggle? So it looks to me like a repeat of history. In 2014, at the Eagle Square in Abuja, I was there. I'm not telling a story that I read on Google. Some governors walked out, including the same former governor Sule Lamido. And that was the beginning of the problem for the party in 2015 general election. They abandoned the party. Some went and formed the new PDP. And it will appear that the PDP, well, despite all the issues about indiscipline and what the Constitution says, may not have learned its lessons. But it will be interesting to see whether the party can recover, whether the objective by Turaki SAN of reconciling people will work. In any case, the people who have been expelled, they also have the option of not fighting. After all, Minister Wike is very friendly with the APC. They can move into the APC, and that also will not be to the advantage of the party. And it was instructive that it was Chief Olabode George who moved the motion for the expulsion. But the question is, the governors that disagree, the governor of Adamawa says he's not party to it. The governor of Plateau, Caleb Mutfwang, says no, he doesn't agree with this idea of expulsion. Were there consultations before that decision was taken? Was there a consensus that all those persons who have been named should be expelled? Or some other group within the political party just jumped, ambushed other members of the party? So there's still a lot of undercurrents that, we will see playing out in the days to come. As for the APC putting more members in the party in Plateau and Senator Godswill Akpabio welcoming new members in Plateau, well, the APC, of course, is mopping up all the defectors from everywhere. And the fear is being expressed in certain quarters that we run the risk of having a one-party state. But perhaps it will not happen, considering the multi-plural, the diverse, multilingual, nature of Nigerian politics. However, the major priority in Plateau, or in the Middle Belt generally, is not defections. It's not APC further expanding within the midriff of its belly. It's about security. And we're told over the weekend that the president had sent Dr. Abiodun Esiet to Plateau State to meet with the Miyetti Allah, meet with Christian leaders, meet with community leaders. We were even told that she had a town hall and a workshop was held for peace. Well, while the Tinubu administration may want to show proactively that it's addressing the security challenge in Nigeria in the face of the attack from Representative Moore and, Ted Cruz and Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War of the United States, the issue is that this is not a problem that can be solved by workshops. Because over the weekend, there were reports that more persons were killed, whether it's in Plateau or in southern Kaduna or elsewhere. Farmer-herders conflict, Christian-Muslim conflict. The issue is about how do you achieve religious harmony in Nigeria. We have bodies, NIREC, Nigeria Religious Council, NIREC has been there for more than a decade. Why is it not working? We have been setting up committees, commissions of inquiry, judicial commissions of inquiry, panels of inquiry since the year 2004 to investigate religious violence, ethnic violence in this country, to see how we can solve, problems of conflict, either through negotiation or through other means. In 2008, there was the Emmanuel Abisoye panel on the just crisis. Many of these panels, they've written reports. It's not about lack of knowledge. All the documents are there. Why is it that since 2004 to date, all those commissions of inquiry, all those panels have not worked? The recommendations have not been applied, and it is now in 2025 that the Senate has just set up a committee to look into religious harmony and respond to President Trump, and that, Mrs. Eshiet, Dr. Eshiet, is going to Plateau to go and organize a workshop. Look, I repeat the point, that the main message from this attempt by the United States to say they want to protect the innocent in Nigeria, as Pete Hegseth puts it, is a wake-up call. It simply means that government needs to do a lot more. Government has said all the right things, but we can only measure, the effort of government in terms of outcomes, in terms of improvement, in terms of a feeling of security, belonging, safety, survival by the average Nigerian. Whether that average Nigerian is in Plateau State or is in Southern Kaduna or is in any other part of this country.
All right, Dr. Abiodun Eshiet is the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Community Engagement. And in that role, she went to Jos, Plateau State, alongside, side by side, whilst the APC mega rally was happening there. And her role or her job was to be an emissary. And in that capacity, she was able to meet with leaders of different faith groups. We know that it was reported that she met with some church leaders in the state alongside members of Fulani Mieti Allah Association. And I can imagine, of course, the conversation would be around listening to the concerns raised by these leaders, many of whom have come out on the media to talk about what their members are going through, and hopefully, as in her official capacity, take the message to the president so that they can act on it. It's important to also note that she went to visit Reverend Ezekiel Dachomo, who we all know has been very vocal. In fact, he's been regarded, or could be regarded, as one of the strongest voices in the state on the state of what he perceives as Christian genocide, or what is Christian genocide in the state. Now, the fact that Dr. Eshiet went to Jos Plateau to meet with these religious leaders is an indication, or suggests the fact that indeed the government recognizes the fact that there is religious intolerance and disharmony in the state. And that is why there's an opportunity for them to come together to bring someone to go to the state and intervene, or at least investigate the matter, which is what we have called on the president to do. And so on that note, it's a good move. It's rather than coming out to keep on trying to beauty up or make the situation look like what it's not, it is important that at least the step is to investigate the claims made by members of these community groups and ascertain that there's either something wrong, or if they decide, okay, nothing is going on there, then they can act on it. Beyond that, oftentimes when we talk about the war against terrorism, banditry, and the likes, and security, we look at the kinetic and non-kinetic. This is the non-kinetic that's often talked about. And so it's not exclusive of military action or force, because we also see in that report certain wins made by the security agents in terms of being able to arrest the escapee from Kuje prison, who was one of the masterminds of the Owo church attack. It's also important that whilst force is being applied, there's also dialogue. And what this dialogue looks like is what Dr. Eshiet has gone there to do. Beyond that, we also ask that they fix the problems, the root causes of these conflicts? First of all, I would imagine that the government will begin to design a program around religious tolerance, harmony. The National Orientation Agency has a job to do in that regard so that people are able to respect other people's rights to religious freedom. Beyond this, we also hope that the community leaders themselves will be champions of this cause. Like Dr. Abatsi mentioned, this is not the first time interfaith communities have been set up. And maybe the first step would be to investigate why those that currently exist have not worked. What are the shortcomings of these interfaith groups? What are the shortcomings of community leaders of different faith backgrounds coming together to speak and then cascading it down to their members to be able to understand why people are not able to live together in peace and harmony? Perhaps a closer look at policies and laws that inhibit or prevent religious freedom in states in the Middle Belt and in the North. Because we've talked about the Sharia law and how we must revisit that conversation again if we're serious about promoting religious freedom for all across different states in Nigeria. So on the face of it, it's a good move. These are the things, some of the things that we have called on the government to do with regards to going into the hotspots and having conversations with the religious leaders. Then the next step is that it's good enough to begin to talk to these people, but what do we do with the knowledge and information we get afterwards? We hope that it will not be just another talk shop or just for the optics of it, but that it would actually spur this administration to action. We want to believe that this administration is serious about tackling insecurity at all its levels, whether it is from through policy, through security reinforcement, through dialogue, through fixing the issues of poverty, provision of infrastructure, education, particularly in the North, provision of amenities for the people who live in these areas so that there are no battles for scarce resources. So these are some of the things that we're hoping would be done. I did think that the rally at a time like this was quite insensitive because at the point, Jos is a hotspot, and so the APC should not be there holding mega rallies when there are talks around people being killed because of their faith in that particular state. But there we go. They decided to have a huge welcome party for those who have decided to defect from the PDP or from other parties to the APC. I think in terms of the mood of the nation currently as it pertains to Jos, Benue State, Middle Belt State, there ought to be some solemnity, not just announcements around tears and cries being offered up for the insecurity, but actually a show of action for how we can make the lives of the people who live there better and how we can promote and guarantee religious freedom. I'll end on that note. Now, PDP, going to the PDP, to be honest, is very, very difficult to imagine how we can describe what happened over the weekend as a jamboree as opposed to an actual convention. I say this because which candidates will be presented to INEC and would they be recognized? And this is the question we asked before the convention happened, that what is the guarantee that based on these, court judgments here, conflicting court judgments, that we're going to actually be able to recognize the outcome of the convention? Now, to make matters even worse, INEC was not there to observe. And we know that based on the Electoral Act, INEC has to be able to observe the proceedings of internal democracy and internal elections in the party to be able to recognize the candidates that emerge or the winners that emerge at that election. So I don't know how the PDP is going to come out of this or which court is going to recognize. Maybe perhaps they will be able to prove in the court of law that they were able to follow due process, and INEC as a body were the ones who refused to come despite the fact that there was a court order demanding that they would be there to observe the elections. Mary Chinda was on ground all through the weekend, and to be honest, even the numbers that came, they were expecting 5,000 delegates, only about 3,100 delegates came. Some states did not show up, a number of some party members did not show up. It was just a chaotic situation that was at best a waste of money for a jamboree or members coming together to just greet themselves. I don't know how this will stand the test of time, and then it then speaks larger to how prepared the PDP is for 2027. Unfortunately, it does look like this is no longer the beginning of the end of the PDP, but if matters are not managed properly, it might just be the end of this opposition party that has stood the test of time since the return to democracy in 1999. Quite unfortunate, but let's see how they might resurrect Lazarus come forth. That's what we say to the PDP.